Hi there, I'm Christine Kidder-Graves. I'm an executive career coach and mindset coach, and I'm here to conduct this training. This is actually pre-recorded on how to easily land your next role by connecting. And my dog is in my office with me snoring. So if you hear snoring, that's my dog Cooper. So I'm just going to talk over him so we can, do this and help you out with your connection work. Okay. So why do I well, what is connecting anyway, first of all? And connecting to me is the key way to get interviews. And when you have interviews, you need to connect. That is crucial. Okay. And it's important to know that connecting powerfully is not a silver bullet. Connecting powerfully reflects work. So it requires work. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And really to help you, because I hear this so much from many of you, executives, doesn't matter what level you're at, but especially executives that right now I'm doing all this networking and I'm not getting the results I need. This is why I'm doing this training, because we need to help you figure it out and to have your connection work, your networking work for you. All right. So let's start. I do love this definition from Brené Brown. She defines connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. So always remember that when you're reaching out to people, it's about you and them. It's a two-way street, being seen, heard, and valued. That's really important. She goes on to say, when they can give and receive without judgment, and they derive sustenance and strength from relationship. And that's what makes our work so awesome, isn't it? The relationships that we're able to develop. Okay. And you can have an awesome job search because of the connections that you make, right? So don't discount this. So many times we get focused on interviews and landing the job and everything, but it's the connections that will help you to get there, that will help you to get those interviews, that will help you to get the job offer, okay? But we can't discount connection. I think so many times we're just so busy trying to get the job, but we don't pay enough attention to connection, because connection is where the magic lies. It's really crucial. And I like to say connection versus networking. So anytime I say connection, I'm really talking about networking. And many of you use the term networking. I'd like you to replace it though with connecting, because to me, networking is just kind of cold. It really doesn't match that awesome definition that we just saw, right, from Brené Brown. I mean, this is more truly about connection, not networking. And networking, I think of hardware and software and computers. We're not computers, we're human beings. And the more we appreciate the human connection in the interview process, and when we're going after roles, when we're in transition, the better off we're going to be, the better off everyone's going to be, employers and candidates alike. So let's really focus on connecting versus networking, okay? Connecting with people on a day-to-day basis, because the more you do that and you focus on that, I think the days that you spend on your job search will be less, will be fewer. I don't think it'll take you as long when you have this, you bring this type of focus to your job search. And also too, it'll be more enjoyable. It may actually be fun. And let's try to make everything fun that we possibly can, including doing a job search. Now, here are my 6 elements of good connection, all right? And so I have DWO, not DIY. I think everybody knows what DIY is, but DWO is to do with others. I want you to really do connection with others. It's hard to do it. You really can't do it by yourself, right? You have to be connecting with other people, okay? And it's taking the DWO and applying it to every aspect of your job search that you can possibly think of, okay? So much of our job search, we think that it's DIY, but the more you take the DIY out and you replace it with do with others, the better, okay? Now, of course, you always have to be true to yourself, because you might have found that while you're in transition, all these people are giving you advice and you're getting conflicting advice too. It doesn't match up. You have to be true to yourself. You have to listen to your intuition. You have to do what's best for you. And at the same time, really, again, doing it with others is crucial. It really is. So I want you to keep that in mind. The next point here, the next element of good connection in my little list here is what's in it for me? What is in it for me? And I'm not talking about you, the candidate who's interviewing. You need to apply this lens throughout the interview process. Okay. Think of those hiring managers, because they're the ones that are going to be making the decision to hire you with others. And you have to just know that they are looking at you through the lens of what's in it for me. What is this person going to do for me? What is this person going to do for our company? What is this person going to do for our team? But really, the primary thing is what's in it for me. And as long as you have that awareness of the lens that they're looking at things through, that's going to help you in connecting with people. And it's not just the hiring manager I'm talking about. When you're reaching out to your connections, we all need to know we're all really busy. We're all pulled in multiple directions. We have our cell phones, we have LinkedIn, we have our work, we have our families, we have too many things going on. You've got to cut to the chase. And what's in it for this person? What's in it for them, for this connection, this existing connection that you have, that you're reaching out to? What is something that you can do to help them? Maybe it's just something small, like sharing a bit of information with them. Okay. Maybe you ask them about how work is going and they're talking with you about a problem, and maybe you have a solution that you can offer to them. Okay. So, but always be in mind, and especially, again, with your job search, when you're writing a post on LinkedIn, every aspect, think about your audience and what's in it for them, what's most important. Okay. But you need to have that awareness to have a good connection with others. Okay. And then the next bullet point, how you can help, that kind of leads into what's in it for me. Okay. Because it's like, how can you help this person? What is it that you can do to help them? Okay. What is it? Maybe you used to work together. Maybe if they're in transition, maybe you can trade leads. You have to find out what their issue is, what they're working on, what they need help with. Maybe you can introduce them to one of your connections that they don't know. That's a great thing to do. Maybe you can write them a recommendation on LinkedIn. Maybe they can do the same for you. But always try to lead for how can you help? Yes, you're doing connection work. You're in job transition, but if you can try to lead with how you can help them, then they're going to be more motivated to try to return the favor to you. Okay. Which leads to our next bullet point here, which is having a clear ask. You need to have a clear ask when you are reaching out to your connections. Don't be open-ended. Don't just say, well, I'm looking for a job. If you hear of anything, let me know. You're not helping your connections to help you. You have to be specific. The more specific you are, the more that they can help you. And that's why I say pre-work is important before you embark on your connection work. So what do I mean by pre-work? You have to be clear on your brand. How are you invaluable to others? What are your superpowers? Okay. And you need to share that with your connections when you're asking them for help in your job search. Okay. And how do you want to use your brand? That is really key. That's the most important thing. That's really the thing to lead with, is how do you want to use your brand? And that's specifically in what types of companies are you interested in? What types of roles are you interested in? Okay. By telling them the specific titles or the specific names of the companies that you're interested in, they give them examples so they understand. If you're just general and you say, I want to work in fintech, they still might not know. It depends. And if you can be more specific, the more specific you are with your connections and asking them for help, the more likely they're going to be able to help you. Okay. it's important for you to do your homework. Maybe when you're reaching out to this connection, you know, in talking with this connection that you would like them to introduce you to somebody else. Okay. So be specific and ask them for that connection with Sally Smith. Okay. And tell them why, give them some information to find out if they're willing to help. But again, a clear ask goes a long way. It's very important. All right. Now, the next bullet point I have is the hiring manager. So again, that your end game when you are in transition is really connecting with those hiring managers, because the hiring managers are the ones who are going to grant you the interview with them. And then they're the ones that are going to hire you, make you the offer. Right. So that's why we have to be ultra focused on them. Right. That's your intention, is to connect with them. Okay. So how can your connections help you to connect with those hiring managers? Maybe they're second degree connections, whatever, but the hiring manager, we always have to keep them front and center because they're the ones that we're working to connect with. They're the decision maker. Okay. So keep that in mind as you are working through your transition. The last element here that I have listed is following up, and I have it called Bam Bam. And this is from one of my coaches. And this is just a really good habit to get in, even in your personal life. And I just call it Bam Bam. I'm not sure but it's short, it's slang for following up, like scheduling the next call. So book a call, like follow up and book a call. Okay. So so you want to make sure when you are talking with your connection, before you get off the phone, that you schedule the next time you're going to talk with them. If you just leave it, it's not going to happen. Use the calendar as your friend. Use the calendar to keep that momentum and to be a better connector. So when you are dedicated to that, and it could be a month from now, it depends on the connection. You may have connections that really want you to definitely stay close to them and keep them informed of your search, because they are really vested in you finding a job. There's many connections out there that want regular updates. Maybe they'd prefer a phone call. Maybe they'd prefer text. Maybe they'd prefer an email, but you need to calendar that follow-up, that next time you're going to talk. Maybe, you just have to work it out. Maybe you're texting each other between your next live conversation, but it's important before you end that conversation that you do Bam Bam. So you book that follow-up, you book that next call. And yeah, I even apply this with a doctor's appointment. You go in to see your doctor for your annual physical. Well, booking the next call, you want to stay on top of it the next time you see your doctor. Just get it done since you're there. That's the most efficient use of your time. I know I hate it when I forget to do that, because then it's another thing. Then I have to call and I have to book the appointment. If you can book it ahead of time, that's one less thing to do on your plate. So this will definitely help you with your connection work. Okay. Now, connection tech tools. These are not to be overlooked. These are very, very helpful, and I want you to fully leverage them. I think too many of us really don't know how to use LinkedIn fully, first of all, because it is such a great tool for us in helping us with connecting with others. So, and I have first degree connections listed specifically on here because you need to start with them since they are your first degree connections. And I want you to have an awareness too of your first degree connections. Anytime you post on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is looking at your first degree connections, who's in your network. So you need to look at your first degree connections. Remember on the last slide over here, I was talking about hiring managers, okay? And really they need to be a primary focus for you in your job search. What are their titles for the roles that you are seeking? What are the titles of those hiring managers? Okay. So let's just say I'm a marketing director and I'm looking for a role that reports into the CMO. So then so here's my specific example for you. Pull up your first degree connections in LinkedIn, right? And then you can easily do a search on their title. Out of all of your first degree connections, how many CMOs do you have in your first degree connections? If you have 1,000 connections and you only have 5 CMOs, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can get started with them, okay? You're going to want to reach out to them first. Because again, if you're going for a marketing director role that reports into the CMO, you want to reach out to those CMOs because they're the hiring managers that would bring you on, right? So that's just an example of really looking at your first degree connections and leveraging them fully. That's important. And then also too, you will most likely need to add more. I mean, you need to assess. This is assessing your first degree connections and looking for how many of those hiring managers you already have in your first degree connections. Assessing that and thinking, okay, I most likely will have to add some to my first degree connections. That's the work that I need to do. Okay. And that's something that I work on with my clients and helping them as well. So, but okay, the next awesome tool here to help you with connection is the video messaging that is on LinkedIn. Now, the video messaging is through your iPhone or your cell phone in the LinkedIn app on your cell phone. And it's just a super handy tool. I really like it. I use it a good amount of, and I feel like it makes LinkedIn more personable. And with all the technology that we have and with AI, I think we need to do everything we can to be more personable and to have that human touch. So video messages will do that. And I think people will be delighted to get video messages from you. So they may not be appropriate for everything, but it's great. Like if you haven't talked with a connection in a while, send them a video message. I've done that and people have really liked that. And I encourage you to do that. And then another tool that I have listed on here is Loom. So maybe you want to send a video message to someone who is not a first degree connection. Use Loom. Loom will enable you to send a video message to someone. And that could be a great way to make a CMO who's not a first degree connection to connect with them. So that will make you stand out because how many other candidates out there are using Loom? Sales Navigator can really help you to find those decision makers, to connect with them. It's a lot more powerful, although LinkedIn search is pretty powerful, but Sales Navigator is almost like LinkedIn on steroids to help you even more to easily find those decision makers. So that may be a tool you may need if you're having a hard time getting interviews through your connection work. Sales Navigator can really open up a lot of things. Are you using calendar tools like Calendly and Acuity? Because they can make it so much easier for you. You want to make it super easy to book time to have conversations with people, to really connect with them. So use those tools. And Zoom, when the pandemic hit, it had one of the silver linings is I think it definitely made it easier for people to be available to connect because we didn't have to drive somewhere to meet for coffee or to have lunch. Now we just need to hop on Zoom or Google Meets, whatever it is, or Teams. But yeah, make sure that you are taking advantage of that ease. And of course, having a phone call is always wonderful. But there's something nice about video messaging too. So even if you could do a FaceTime call, possibly with this connection, that's more personable. But we also need to be respectful of each other. Not everyone can do a video call. People may be running around. So try to see if you can do a Zoom because it is more personable, or a video call. But if not, a phone call is great to be able to connect with someone. And then some other tools just to kind of help you. LinkedIn, I feel that you should be able to use LinkedIn predominantly in keeping track of your connections. However, when you're in transition mode and you are working, you should be using a target company list to be focused in your search. And that target company list should be in a spreadsheet like Google Sheets or Excel. But that company target list will help you with your connection work that you need to do. It will drive it. So that's something important to keep in mind. And then HubSpot, which has their free CRM. Again, your job search is, I've had marketing executives that have used HubSpot in their job search, and it really helped them to effectively connect with people, to stay connected with their existing connections, and then to connect with new connections. So those are the tech tools not to be ignored. I also have these sheets for you to help you to be a better connector, all right? And it's as simple as having the habit of being a good connector. So that's what this sheet is over here. It's because I really feel that once you do a habit for at least 21 to 30 days, then you have that habit. So especially if you are working right now, now is the best time to start this habit. You're working, you're really busy in your job, and you love your job, you're really happy. Now's the time for you to start this habit, because you don't want to wait until it's too late. You don't want to wait until you have a closing timeline. You want to make sure that you're doing the connection work, that you're sowing the seeds to really cultivate your connections. And that's why this habit is so important. And you can just start with 5 minutes a day. If you don't have 5 minutes a day, then a painful job search is in your near future, because layoffs are always going to be happening. They're the one thing that we can count on. And you need to be strategic and set yourself up for success. So if you don't have time for connection work, at least 5 minutes a day, then you're going to have to make time for a long, drawn out, never ending job search. That's going to be extremely stressful in your future. All right. So I can't stress that enough. And then this other sheet is to help you measure your connection activity. It has this point system for you to follow. And this is definitely geared more when you are looking for your next role. But still, like if you're, again, doing a job search while you're in a busy, demanding role, you need to measure your activity. You need to make sure that what you're doing is working. It's a way to leverage the 80-20 rule. And this is the point system that you give yourself for your connection work that you're doing. So you know if you're really on the right track. And we'll put the links to these two spreadsheets or two worksheets in the comments section for you. And then again, we're driving people to our LinkedIn profile. Okay, we always want people to view our LinkedIn profile, even existing connections, just so they can see. So it's important. We can't forget this. You need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is optimized and that you have a professional headshot. I saw one today that was just awful. It was someone standing, they were at a wedding. He was standing in the hallway with his tuxedo on. He must have been in the bridal party. And it was just not professional at all. And this is a sales executive. It should be a headshot. It should be professional. It shouldn't be you at a wedding or you at a picnic or something. Okay, so something like that. But your whole profile goes into your brand. And these are the critical components of that. And then lastly, here's the overview for my whole program. really, I have 3 key pillars to it: reflect, plan, and connect. And this was really to talk about, this whole training that I did was to talk about this third pillar, which is, to me, the biggest action that we need to focus on when we are in career transition, and also too in our careers, because it makes all the difference. It really does. So hopefully you found this helpful. And then I want to encourage you, in addition to this training, really the best possible way that I can help you is, and I do a limited number of these per week on a complimentary basis, because people do, pay me to do this to help them. And what it is, it's a career strategy and LinkedIn audit call. Okay, so that's what it is. But you'll get feedback on your LinkedIn profile. You'll get my one-on-one undivided attention. We'll talk about career strategy, and you get LinkedIn profile feedback. All right, so I will give that to you. And that really is the best high value way that I can help you. So as you can imagine, since I only do a limited number of those, my calendar fills out pretty quickly. But we can get you on the calendar as long as we know what your urgency is, what your timeline is, because that's important. We want something that works for you. So I'm here to help and provide value. And thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.